Michael Jackson's performances seemed perfect to the world. But behind the dazzling lights and iconic moments, things didn't always go according to plan. From dangerous technical failures to unexpected on-stage incidents, even the king of pop faced challenges that could have brought the show to a halt. These rare incidents reveal the incredible pressure, precision, and professionalism required to keep a performance alive when everything starts falling apart. Munich stage collapse. One mechanical failure nearly turned a legendary performance into a tragedy. In 1999, during the MJ and Friends charity concert in Munich, Michael Jackson was performing Earth Song on an elevated bridge high above the audience. Everything appeared to be going according to plan until disaster struck. As the platform began lowering, its central section suddenly detached and crashed to the ground. Michael fell nearly 50 feet in front of thousands of shocked fans. The accident could have ended the show instantly. Instead, Jackson got back up and continued performing, refusing to let the moment stop him. Most fans had no idea how serious the fall had been. Only after the concert ended did he receive medical treatment. Doctors treated him for severe back pain, a sprained ankle, and shock. Later, tour director Kenny Ortega confirmed that a mechanical failure had caused the accident. What was meant to be a routine stage effect became one of the most dangerous moments of Michael Jackson's career. The toaster flop. Every great show begins with a memorable entrance, and Michael Jackson's was designed to be unforgettable. During the Dangerous tour, he used a stage lift nicknamed the Toaster, a mechanism created to launch him onto the stage and make it appear as though he had magically appeared out of nowhere. But during one performance, the technology failed. Instead of shooting upward at the perfect moment, the platform rose slowly while Michael remained crouched beneath it. The audience saw the illusion long before it was supposed to happen. What should have been a breathtaking entrance became an awkward technical mishap. Fans could clearly see how the effect worked, stripping away the mystery behind one of the show's biggest moments. The concert continued, but the failed reveal became a reminder that even the most carefully planned productions can be undone by technology. Scream starts in silence. Sometimes a performance can go wrong before the first note is even heard. During the History Tour in Gothenburg, Michael Jackson was preparing to perform Scream, one of the most explosive moments of the show. But as the performance began, the backing track failed to start and Michael's microphone was silent. Instead of the powerful opening fans expected, there was only an uncomfortable gap where music and vocals should have been. For several tense seconds, thousands of fans watched as the performance struggled to begin. Eventually, the technical problems were fixed and the music returned. The show recovered quickly, but those silent moments became one of the strangest technical failures of the History Tour. Backing track vanishes. At times, technology isn't just part of the show, it becomes the biggest obstacle. During the Royal Brunei concert in 1996, Michael was performing Scream when the backing track suddenly disappeared. Without warning, the music supporting the performance cut out completely. There was no time to stop, no time to reset. Instead, Michael continued singing live, carrying the performance on his own while technicians worked to restore the sound. What began as a perfectly controlled production instantly became a test of skill and professionalism under pressure. Pepsi fire disaster. Not every accident happened on stage. On January 27, 1984, Michael Jackson was filming a Pepsi commercial at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. The production involved bright lights, music, and pyrotechnics designed to create a spectacular visual effect. During the sixth take, however, a technical error caused the pyrotechnics to ignite too early. Sparks landed on Michael's hair, setting it on fire while cameras continued rolling. Crew members rushed to help as flames spread across his scalp. What began as a routine commercial shoot quickly turned into a serious emergency. Michael suffered second and third-degree burns and was rushed to the hospital for treatment. The injuries left permanent scars and became one of the most painful and life-changing incidents of his career. Moscow slide mishap. Even the stage itself sometimes fought against him. During the dangerous tour in Moscow, part of the stage became dangerously slippery after getting wet. As Michael moved through a routine, he suddenly slid much farther than intended. For a brief moment, it looked as though the performance might completely lose control. But Jackson reacted instantly, adjusted his movement, and continued as if nothing had happened. Most fans never realized anything had gone wrong. Behind the scenes, however, it was a genuine stage mishap caused by conditions no performer could fully control. Anti-gravity lean failure. One of Michael Jackson's most iconic illusions almost failed in front of the world. During the History World Tour, audiences were amazed by the famous anti-gravity lean, a move that made Michael appear to defy the laws of physics. The illusion relied on specially designed shoes that locked into pegs hidden in the stage. When everything worked perfectly, the effect looked impossible. But during performances in Tokyo and Amsterdam, the shoe mechanism occasionally failed to connect properly. Without that connection, the illusion instantly disappeared. Performers had to regain their balance within seconds to avoid stumbling or falling in front of thousands of spectators. For a brief moment, one of the greatest stage illusions ever created came dangerously close to falling apart. But few people realized how close that legendary move came to disaster. Behind the illusion, a single mistake was all it took for gravity to take control. Bangkok backstage collapse. Sometimes the biggest challenges happen before the audience ever takes their seats. By August 1993, Michael Jackson's Dangerous World Tour had become one of the largest concert events on the planet. The tour had traveled across continents, drawn millions of fans, and seemed unstoppable. Then, just hours before a scheduled concert in Bangkok, everything changed. Backstage, Michael Jackson suffered severe dehydration and collapsed. The medical emergency forced organizers to cancel the show, leaving thousands of disappointed fans waiting for a performance that would never begin. At the time, only a brief explanation was given to the public. Few people understood the immense physical and emotional strain Jackson had been carrying throughout the tour. Months of non-stop travel, exhausting performances, and growing personal pressures had pushed his body to its limits. As the year progressed, it became increasingly clear that the challenges facing Jackson extended far beyond technical failures and stage mishaps. Later in 1993, he publicly acknowledged a dependency on prescription pain medication and announced that he would seek professional treatment. The Bangkok collapse became a powerful reminder that even the world's biggest superstar was still human. Behind the sold-out arenas, dazzling lights, and record-breaking crowds was a performer battling exhaustion while trying to meet the extraordinary demands of global fame. The incident marked one of the most difficult periods of Michael Jackson's career and revealed the hidden cost of maintaining one of the greatest shows in entertainment history.
As you may already know, after my tour ended, I remained out of the country undergoing treatment for a dependency on pain medication.
And November 1993, the remaining dates of the Dangerous World Tour were officially canceled. What began as a backstage medical emergency had evolved into a major turning point in Michael Jackson's career. Fan reaches the stage. For one tense moment, the entire show hung in the balance. Spotlights swept across the arena as thousands of fans watched in anticipation. The music echoed through the venue, while a massive crane lifted Michael Jackson high above the audience, creating one of the most dramatic moments of the night. Everything appeared to be under control. Then, without warning, someone broke through security. A determined fan managed to bypass barriers and move toward Jackson while he was suspended above the crowd. In an instant, a carefully choreographed spectacle turned into an unpredictable security incident. The atmosphere changed immediately. What had been a celebration of music suddenly became a tense situation unfolding in front of thousands of spectators. Security personnel reacted quickly, rushing to intercept the fan before the encounter could escalate further. For a few anxious moments, nobody knew exactly what would happen next. The incident highlighted a challenge faced by many global superstars, the thin line between admiration and obsession. While most fans respected boundaries, it only took one determined individual to place both the performer and the show at risk. Fortunately, the situation was brought under control without serious injury, and the performance continued. But for those who witnessed it, the moment served as a reminder that even the most carefully planned concert can change in seconds when the unexpected breaks through. Yet while security rushed into action, the performance never stopped. Michael Jackson remained calm and focused as the music continued. Suspended high above the audience, he maintained his composure and even helped keep the situation under control while security personnel worked around him. What could have become a dangerous interruption instead transformed into one of the night's most memorable moments. The crowd witnessed something far beyond a concert performance. They saw grace under pressure, a quality that defined Michael Jackson throughout his career. Billie Jean silence. Sometimes the most powerful moment in a performance is complete silence. During the 1988 Bad World Tour at Wembley Stadium, Michael Jackson delivered one of the most unforgettable introductions to Billie Jean. The routine itself was simple. He slowly walked toward center stage, adjusted his fedora, and stopped. Then he waited. With tens of thousands of fans screaming around him, Jackson stood almost perfectly still, allowing anticipation to build with every passing second. That was the genius of the moment. Rather than rushing into the performance, he used silence as a tool. Every second increased the tension until the unmistakable bass line finally erupted through the stadium. The crowd's reaction was explosive. It was a masterclass in stage control, proving that commanding an audience isn't always about movement. Sometimes standing still can be even more powerful. For a brief moment, an entire stadium seemed frozen in anticipation, waiting for the next move from the king of pop. The mythical firing. A tiny on-stage moment created a rumor that lasted for years. During the 1996 Royal Brunei concert, Michael Jackson performed I Just Can't Stop Loving You alongside singer Marva Hicks. During the performance, a timing issue occurred, prompting Jackson to communicate briefly with his longtime musical director, Brad Buxer. Almost immediately, speculation began. Some fans believed Jackson had publicly fired Buxer on stage, claiming he said, "Job gone," after the mistake. But the story wasn't true. The interaction was simply part of managing a live performance in real time. Buxer continued working closely with Jackson long afterward, proving there had been no dramatic dismissal. What appeared to be a confrontation was actually an example of professional teamwork under pressure. While continuing to sing, Jackson communicated with his crew and helped keep the show running smoothly without drawing attention to the technical issue. A brief misunderstanding eventually became one of the most famous rumors in Michael Jackson history. Thriller, Final Rehearsal. The final chapter of a legendary performance was built on decades of dedication. By the time Thriller reached its later stage productions, it had already become one of the most iconic songs ever performed. But Michael Jackson never treated success as a reason to stop improving. Every movement, every pause, every turn of the head was rehearsed repeatedly until it matched the standard he demanded from himself. Behind the famous choreography stood countless hours of preparation, refinement, and perfectionism. Audiences saw the finished performance. What they rarely saw was the relentless work that made those moments possible. From technical failures and medical emergencies to security scares and unforgettable performances, Michael Jackson's career was defined by resilience, discipline, and an extraordinary commitment to his craft. The world remembers the magic. But behind every legendary moment was a performer determined to deliver excellence, no matter what obstacles stood in his way.
Bang, bang, shoulder, and bop, and hit, and bop.
The production expanded Thriller's legendary graveyard theme with larger-than-life visuals, advanced stage technology, and a cinematic atmosphere that brought the classic performance into a new era. Behind the spectacle, however, was a song that demanded absolute precision. Written by Rod Temperton and released in 1982, Thriller remained one of Michael Jackson's most challenging performances, even after decades on stage. Every note, every movement, and every cue required perfect timing. Despite performing the song countless times, Jackson continued striving to preserve its original energy and sound. He paid close attention to the demanding vocal delivery, the iconic choreography, and the dramatic pacing that made the song unforgettable. The production also honored Vincent Price's legendary narration, whose haunting voice added another layer of mystery and theatricality to the performance. More than 30 years after its release, Thriller continued to feel ahead of its time. Its groundbreaking music, revolutionary visuals, and unforgettable storytelling had transformed it from a hit song into a cultural phenomenon. Even during his final rehearsals, Jackson approached Thriller with the same commitment and perfectionism that had defined his entire career. It was more than just another performance. It was a symbol of his dedication to excellence, his passion for entertaining audiences, and his determination to keep pushing creative boundaries. From technical failures and on-stage accidents to record-breaking performances and iconic moments, Michael Jackson's journey was built on resilience, preparation, and an unwavering pursuit of perfection. Long after the lights fade and the music ends, those moments continue to remind the world why Michael Jackson remains one of the greatest entertainers in history.
Go. Yeah. Right. Your preparation. So you should just be coming off the left foot.
To creating a performance that audiences would never forget. A track that transformed pop culture continued carrying the same power until the very end. Smooth Criminal Illusion. A dark rhythm, a mysterious story, and an impossible movement turned one performance into a legend. Smooth Criminal was more than just a song. Inspired by the atmosphere of 1930s noir crime films, the track evolved from an early demo titled Al Capone into a dramatic tale filled with suspense, danger, and intrigue. Michael Jackson played a major role in shaping the song's unique identity. Working alongside producer Quincy Jones, he experimented with innovative production techniques to create a sound unlike anything audiences had heard before. One of the most fascinating details behind the track was the use of Jackson's own heartbeat as part of its rhythmic foundation, adding an almost subconscious pulse beneath the music. Sharp synthesizers, driving percussion, and tense melodies gave the song its unmistakable energy while reinforcing the mystery surrounding the song's central character, Annie. But the greatest surprise wasn't found in the recording studio. It happened on stage. As the music reached its most dramatic moment, audiences witnessed something that seemed impossible. Michael Jackson and his dancers leaned forward at an angle that appeared to defy the laws of physics. Fans were stunned. Many believed it was a camera trick or some kind of special effect. Others wondered whether it was simply impossible. Yet the illusion was real. Behind the scenes, the famous lean relied on specially designed shoes and a hidden stage mechanism engineered to support the performers at the perfect angle. The move became one of the most iconic visual moments in entertainment history. Decades later, people still debate how it was done. That combination of innovation, mystery, and flawless execution transformed Smooth Criminal from a hit song into a cultural phenomenon. It wasn't just a performance. It was a moment that left audiences questioning what they had just seen and ensured that Smooth Criminal would remain one of Michael Jackson's most unforgettable creations.
The video changed from the marquee to the city.
I gotta feel that. I'll feel it.
Okay.
Jackson then introduced the legendary anti-gravity lean, a move that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Using specially designed shoes and hidden stage pegs, he and his dancers were able to tilt forward at an astonishing 45-degree angle without the use of visible wires. The illusion stunned audiences around the world and quickly became one of the most iconic moments in pop culture. More than just a dance move, it was a perfect fusion of creativity, engineering, and performance. Smooth Criminal proved that Michael Jackson wasn't satisfied with simply entertaining audiences. He wanted to show them something they had never seen before. By combining storytelling, technology, and choreography, he transformed an impossible idea into reality. Super Bowl takeover. The Super Bowl halftime show was never the same again. Before 1993, halftime performances were often viewed as simple intermissions featuring marching bands and traditional entertainment. Then Michael Jackson stepped onto the stage and completely changed expectations. At Super Bowl 27, Jackson delivered a performance that transformed the halftime show into a global spectacle. The surprises began before he even sang a single note. As the show opened, giant stadium screens displayed body doubles appearing in different locations around the venue. Fans believed Michael Jackson was somehow appearing all over the stadium at once. Then came the reveal. Moments later, the real Michael Jackson suddenly emerged at center stage through a hidden lift, sending the crowd into a frenzy. But what happened next was even more remarkable. Instead of immediately launching into a song, Jackson stood perfectly still. For nearly 2 minutes, he remained motionless while tens of thousands of fans screamed and cheered around him. He didn't speak. He didn't sing. He simply stood there. The anticipation became almost unbearable. It was a masterclass in stage presence and crowd control. Without saying a word, Jackson commanded the attention of an entire stadium and millions of television viewers around the world. The silence itself became part of the performance. In that moment, Michael Jackson demonstrated a rare ability possessed by only a handful of entertainers in history: the power to captivate an audience through presence alone. What followed was a historic performance featuring some of his biggest hits, setting a new standard for every Super Bowl halftime show that came after. From that day forward, halftime was no longer just a break in the game. It became one of the biggest stages in entertainment. Jackson also used the historic performance to promote his Heal the World Foundation, turning one of the biggest television events in the world into a message of hope and unity. While the Super Bowl show demonstrated the lasting power of a single stage moment, another unforgettable spectacle was waiting to ignite audiences around the globe. Dangerous tour ignition. The silence ended, and the entire stadium exploded with energy. At the beginning of the Dangerous World Tour, Michael Jackson's dramatic entrance had already pushed anticipation to its limit. After emerging from the famous toaster lift, he stood nearly motionless for almost 2 minutes, building suspense with nothing more than his presence. Then everything changed. The opening beat of Wanna Be Startin' Something hit the stadium. Instantly, months of preparation erupted into action. The dancers launched into motion. Lights flashed across the arena in perfect synchronization. Music thundered through the crowd as every element of the production came alive at once. The transformation was electric. What had begun as complete stillness became an explosion of movement, sound, and energy that swept through the audience. But behind the excitement was an enormous technical challenge. The performers had to transition from absolute stillness to intense choreography within seconds. Every movement had to be perfectly timed. Every cue had to be executed flawlessly. At the same time, technicians worked behind the scenes to coordinate sound systems, lighting effects, stage mechanics, and pyrotechnics with split-second precision. There was no room for hesitation. One missed cue could disrupt the entire sequence. Yet when everything worked together, the result was breathtaking. The opening of the Dangerous World Tour became one of the most iconic concert introductions ever created, showcasing not only Michael Jackson's stage presence, but also the incredible teamwork required to bring such an ambitious production to life. For the audience, it felt effortless. Behind the scenes, it was a carefully orchestrated masterpiece built on precision, discipline, and countless hours of rehearsal. That ability to transform meticulous preparation into pure magic was one of the reasons Michael Jackson's concerts became legendary around the world. This opening proved that Michael Jackson wasn't simply performing a concert. He was creating a full-scale stadium experience where suspense, music, technology, and movement combined to produce something unforgettable. Earth Song Finale. The final rehearsal carried a message far greater than entertainment. On June 24, 2009, at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, Michael Jackson rehearsed Earth Song for what would become one of the most memorable moments from the Plan This Is It concerts. Despite the demanding schedule and enormous production requirements, Jackson performed with remarkable energy, focus, and commitment. Earth Song was designed to serve as the emotional centerpiece of the show. The performance blended music, storytelling, visuals, and technology to deliver a powerful message about humanity's relationship with the planet. A large video sequence followed a young girl traveling through a damaged rainforest, reinforcing the song's environmental themes and emotional impact. Massive stage elements were incorporated into the production, including a cherry-picker crane and a military-style tank symbolizing the destruction caused by war and conflict. Jackson also integrated passages from his poem Planet Earth, transforming the performance into a call for awareness, compassion, and responsibility. The rehearsal showcased everything that defined Michael Jackson as an artist: storytelling, creativity, innovation, and a desire to use music to inspire change. Just hours later, the world would lose one of its greatest entertainers. As a result, the final rehearsal of Earth Song became an unforgettable glimpse into Jackson's vision, passion, and dedication during the last days of his life. Bad tour explosion. The lights disappeared. The stadium waited. Then everything exploded into motion. During the Bad World Tour in 1988, Michael Jackson introduced audiences to an opening built on suspense, speed, and pure performance power. Unlike later productions that relied heavily on elaborate stage machinery, this entrance used darkness as its most powerful special effect. A deep electronic buildup echoed through the arena while the stage remained completely black. Then, without warning, bright lights and smoke revealed Jackson standing motionless at center stage. The crowd erupted. The silence lasted only seconds. Moments later, he launched into the opening choreography of Wanna Be Startin' Somethin', unleashing a wave of energy that swept through the entire stadium. The Bad Tour introduction focused on movement rather than machinery. Jackson wanted audiences fully engaged from the very first second, relying on his dancing, stamina, and magnetic stage presence to capture attention. It was proof that sometimes the most powerful effect on stage isn't technology, it's the performer. Black or white blast. The darkness faded. The stage exploded with color. During the History World Tour, Black or White became one of the show's most vibrant and uplifting moments. Following the darker and more dramatic sections of the concert, the song introduced an atmosphere of celebration, unity, and optimism. The transformation was immediate. A massive multi-panel video screen displayed images from around the world, creating a constantly changing visual experience that reflected the song's message of global togetherness. Jackson moved across the stage while lights, screens, music, and choreography worked together in perfect synchronization. The visuals continued building in intensity. Red lighting opened the scene before shifting into brilliant waves of blue, yellow, and white, surrounding the audience with color and energy. Every lighting cue and stage movement was timed precisely to the rhythm of the music. The result was far more than a performance. It was a celebration of diversity, connection, and the universal language of music. Conclusion. The spotlight followed Michael Jackson throughout his entire career. But behind the legendary performances were countless challenges, unexpected setbacks, and moments when everything could have gone wrong. From technical failures and stage accidents to security scares and demanding rehearsals, these hidden moments revealed the extraordinary pressure behind the magic. Yet every obstacle highlighted the quality that truly made Michael Jackson unique. His ability to adapt, his ability to recover, and his determination to keep the show alive no matter what happened around him. The world remembers the moonwalk, the music, and the unforgettable performances. But behind every legendary moment stood a performer whose dedication to excellence never wavered. And that is why Michael Jackson remains one of the greatest entertainers the world has ever seen.